Good morning. My name is Juliette Rudder. I'm the Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator for the Healthcare Coalition of Southern Oregon. Welcome to our second day of the community baby shower. This one is all about fathers and partners and how we can help y'all out and celebrate you, of course. I wanted to mention before we begin, there is an in-person part of this event. If you go to Roseburg Public Library or the Josephine County Public Library, Grants Pass branch, if you go in, you mention the baby shower, you can get some free books to read to your little ones and do some lovely bonding. So I hope you take advantage of that. The libraries are fantastic. All righty. Well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce y'all to our wonderful panel here. So first on my list, we have Bob Bath, who is a middle school science teacher of 33 years. He's also served as a youth director, guitar teacher, and coach. 6 years ago, he obtained his license and founded the GP, Grants Pass, chapter of Boot Camp for New Dads, which he facilitates each month. His proudest accomplishment is helping raise Jessica and Emily. Next, we have Robert Miller, who is the founder and executive director of FARA. Robert is a family and child therapist and parenting facilitator who is passionate in helping individuals grow, change, heal, and become who they were meant to be. Robert is a strength-based, person-centered therapist and believes that we all have a past and a story that shapes and molds us into who we become. The hope, though, is that we don't have to let that past determine our future and our now. Robert, when he is not loving his clients and his 6 children, loves to play golf with anyone who will put up with him. His words, not mine. I think he's great. And of course, we have Alyssa Davidson, who is a local social worker who has a bachelor's degree in social work with a coursework focus on women's studies and a focus on trauma treatment in her master's program that she is currently finishing. She has also completed the coursework for perinatal mental health certification and is a certified lactation counselor and a certified baby-wearing educator. Alyssa works with 2 organizations that do amazing work, Nurturely and Juniper Tree Counseling. Both organizations focus on providing equitable services to families in a multitude of ways, as well as providing professional development trainings to help other professionals in our community better understand the impact of their interactions on the perinatal community. Supporting new parents and providing access to direct sources in a holistic, patient-centered way is important to her work. Thank you all so much for being with us. Very, very happy to have you. And I think that it's important to get our groundwork. Why do fathers need services? Feels like all of our stuff is focused on mothers. Why fathers? And Bob, you are off mute, so you're going first.
Sure. Well, for a couple of things. In this day and age, we have a lot of dads who are not raised with a dad in the family. And so they don't know what a dad is supposed to do. And there's just something lacking there. I think, though, that another piece is that we as men, having transitioned from caveman era, think that, in the past, our job has been to provide a chunk of meat or something to just feed our families. And that translates now into a job. But it's more than that. We provide stability for a family in what we teach our family to do as far as self-sufficiency. When we can take stuff off of our partner's plate, we make for a more stable household. When we can help console a child, because our partner, while they're fantastic, it's better to be doing child rearing with 2. The partner needs a little bit of a break, for heaven's sakes. And we as men quite often think that our partner will just magically cough up an extra 4 hours and be able to do everything that this gurgling, screaming time suck, if you will, gentle term for a child, will require. And that's just not going to happen. So we bring a lot to the relationship.
Fantastic. Robert, why don't you go next?
First of all, I think we've done an amazing job at recognizing, mothers being, females being the primary caregiver, right? And really wrapping around moms and getting help to moms at every level. We've done an amazing job. We can even do better. What we're starting to see is the absolute necessity of more services for males, for dads. Like Bob was sharing with us, we grew up in a society, the work that we do in our domestic violence, battery intervention, anger management classes, is we've kind of come from a past patriarchal society where we've learned how to control our children. We've learned how to control relationships, and it's been passed down, and we've not really been taught how to connect. And so a lot of us fathers don't have the tools. We have the heart. We don't have the tools to be able to parent in a healthy manner, to connect with our children, to understand our children, again, knowing how we were raised. And so the necessity of services for fathers at every level, for fathers with, we work with a lot of fathers who are the primary caregiver in this moment in their child's life. They're the only caregiver. And so just because they have the ability and took on that task, like the other partners have for so many years, doesn't mean they necessarily know how to do all of the daily living with their child, how to connect in problem solving, how to model for their children what connection looks like. So I think it's paramount for perinatal, for parenting, for educational services for our dads, for our males, so that we can take our desire to want to be good husbands, good fathers, good men, but actually get the tools to be able to live out those ideologies as well.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, Alicia, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to piggyback off of what Bob and Robert both said. Sometimes as a man, it's very hard to recognize when a service might be appropriate for you, especially if you are that single parent. And so when you have programs that are focused like WIC is women, infant, and children, sometimes it's really hard to recognize that that program is also inclusive of the single father because it's got woman in the name. And so I think it's really important to have some services that are specifically for dads so that they're easier to access, they're easier to find, and they're easier to recognize that it's a safe place that their needs are going to be met.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, love that. So speaking of resources, let's talk about your organizations. You all offer services that are unique to fathers and partners. Let's say, Robert, why don't you go first?
Absolutely. Yeah, what we've tried to do, we're only in our infancy here at FARA. We're in our 4th year, but we've taken the model from an agency up in Lane County, CAFA, who's been there for 33 years. And the whole ideology is try to create wraparound services for any family member at any level with any need or struggle or crisis or mental health issue. And so what we do here at FARA is in our parenting educational series, we have our tips, which is our true insight parenting strategies, which we have 6-week classes. Every 6 weeks is a new go around. And we have it at multiple levels. Every 6 weeks, we have an online version where you'll get the workbook and books. You talked earlier about reading to your children. We have specific books that the parents will read to their children every night for the next 6 weeks that we give them each week. But it's a 6-week relational and educational series where the parents really become, they build the capacity to understand their strengths, their weaknesses, their story, and then heal, change, and grow themselves. And then by doing that, through osmosis, so to speak, we start to be able to model for our kids what we really want out of them instead of mandating, right? So it's really changing. It's understanding, using ACEs and attachments and conscious discipline and all this newest empirical research, education, and understanding that tells us that without connection, there could be no understanding. So it's all about relationships. How do we do that though? And so our tips does that not only online. We're going to every elementary school over the next 3 years and doing 6-week series. We just finished at Winchester. We're going to Eastwood, and then our hope is to get over to Melrose next. But what's neat is we go in and do 6 weeks with the parents of those schools while the kids are in the gymnasium playing, and we all get together and eat dinner for 2 hours, and then the parents learn. And then all of the amazing stuff happens through education. But what we found out is the community got stronger. Those parents started to lean on each other where they didn't even know each other before the classes started. Their kids knew each other. So we're creating community parenting classes. We also have our Parenting After Crisis 15-week series, which is for parents who found themselves in a struggle with their children, maybe even having children removed or trying to figure out a way to get back to their children, helping a child and a parent reunify. We have reunification therapy where we help families come back and reconnect and heal and learn and do differently than was done before. So whether it be our tips, our PAC, our reintegration therapy, or we offer therapeutic services for individuals, fathers, families, whether it be mental health issues, whether it be crisis, struggle, trauma, or just learning how to connect because I didn't get those tools in my story. I'd like to add them now. We're trying to create enough services so that each member of the family has an ability to understand and grow, or learn, or change, or even more importantly, and I have to say this, and I'll leave with this, why our service, why we're doing what we're doing, is a lot of the females that we work with that have gone through trauma, let's say they've gotten into one of our mandated programs, 93% of those females have been a victim themselves at one point as a child. And we probably all know that, right? What most don't know is that 82% of men that end up in our program, and we have 200 men any given day in our OPAC program, our domestic violence program, 82% of those men were a victim when they were a child as well. And so if we really want dads to do differently, they've got to have the resources, the services, the classes, the education, the help, the relationship, the connection to be able to change their story as well and have a chance to do differently, to heal themselves. And so with that education understanding, I think we'll offer more services. We'll create with that, you know, as a community, we'll together we'll do it better. So
yeah, I hope so. Alicia, what does your organization do?
We provide individual and family counseling with the hopes to support healthy, secure attachments between parents and their children. We have a pretty good focus on women in our program, but realistically, we're a whole family program. We're father inclusive, and in my own perinatal mental health certification, that it went well into the uniqueness of what dads experience. You know, the increase in their risk for developing what is called paternal postpartum depression, which is not talked about very much in our society, but dads or partners in general are at a much higher risk of developing postpartum depression themselves, even more so if their partner is experiencing it. And so having a place where you can find some help for things that might feel like nobody else understands, that's a really important part of being a healthy and secure, attachable dad. So we want to provide that place for them to come and get their mental health needs met, because we know that dads that are supported in their mental health are going to be better parents. They're going to be more able to deal with all of the hardships that come along. And as parents, there's plenty.
Awesome. Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
The mission statement for Boot Camp for New Dads National is a dad for every child, no matter what. Locally, we offer a 3-hour class that teaches dads how to be dads. And it unpacks everything from what was your dad like to what kind of vision do you have as a dad? What goals, what values are really, really big for you? Now, our model is to have the class be taught by dads who have a child from 2 months to 12 months in age. And I facilitate the class, tossing out the questions in between what we call our rookie dads who haven't delivered yet, and our veteran dads who have. And we go over such things as, what do those midnight feedings look like? I mean, what does a dad do? He obviously doesn't have the mammary glands, but what does that really look like? And what things have you done to pull some stuff off of your partner's plate? What is the gatekeeping phenomenon, and has it surfaced in your house? And so there's some very, very rich conversation there. What are the top 6 reasons that a child might be screaming, and how do you troubleshoot it? What are some consoling techniques, burping techniques, all of that good stuff? If your partner is going back to work, how do you feed? How do you change a diaper? So a lot of the nuts and bolts day in, day out stuff too, but also a big component is avoiding shaken baby syndrome. Getting the men to realize that when that cortisol level rises, it's okay to put the baby down. Our oldest graduate from the class, first-time dad, 62 years old, youngest, 15. We also have graduated a stepdad who has not had a biological dad of his own, but was planning on being very active in his step-grandson's life, taking care of it on Fridays, every Friday. So that's been exciting. Boot camp for new dads in Grants Pass has been up and running for 6 years. And just when you think you've pretty much heard all of the questions that can be asked or all the different scenarios, there's definitely some fabulous permutation. What do we protect our kids from in this day and age? Most interesting response I ever heard was, sometimes we protect kids from ourselves, as in would never have thought twice about, yeah, I'll toss a couple back, with some friends and then hop in the car. And now with a child, no, never. Just rich dialogue on anything from what went into your decision to circumcise or not circumcise, or breast versus bottle, and so on. Just a very rich conversation and support for our dads long after. Send them on their way having played Jim Croce's, child grew up just the other day. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank because we just changed classes, and I'm Harry Chapin's
Catch in the Cradle.
That's the one. Thank you. So wonderful program. I look forward to it every month.
And you all actually got quite a bit into your programs. Before we go any further, we'd like to know, how do fathers and partners access your services? Let's see. Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
So at 26 weeks, women have a well check, and we have brochures that are dropped in their well check bags. And in Grants Pass, we have 34 brochure distributors. And in Medford, there are another 14 brochure distributors. And that brochure tells them to log in at www.gpbootcampfornewdads.com.
Awesome, thank you. And Bob, if you gotta go, you gotta go. It's cool.
Thank you. The very last thing I'd like to add is that one of our latest brochure distributors is actually with the Youth Correctional Facility in Grants Pass. And it turns out that there are quite a few dads who have been benefiting from that lately. So look forward to a long, wonderful history with them as well. Take care. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bob. The work never stops, everybody. Okay, yeah. Alicia, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so our system is very easy to access. All you have to do is call the office and let them know that you'd like to schedule, or at your doctor's office, ask for a referral. Either way is super easy. If a referral is sent over, we contact you. If you need services and you don't want to go that route, you contact us. Very simple.
Awesome. So they go to like junipertree.org or something like that to like
junipertreecounseling.com. You can Google Juniper Tree Counseling. All of our information comes right up. And we're located on Rose Street in Roseburg, right next to For the Love of Paws, actually.
Cool. Thank you. Robert.
Yeah, you can call the office. You can go to our website, www.faraforkids.org. Farah Roseburg, it'll come up. There's a tab for every one of our programs. It'll tell you how to get on, how to access the classes. Our tips classes, like I said, you can get onto the next list for the next class that starts. Right now, we're in week 4 of the current 6 weeks. So then week 1 will be starting again in just a few weeks. Or call the front office and they'll get you signed up. Most of our programs is just literally calling the office and getting signed up. Some of them of our longer programs, there'll be an intake where you'll come in and fill out some paperwork. But if you call the front office, they will direct you and where you need to go. And the website will also tell you much more about all of the different programs that we have to offer.
Awesome. And to clarify, Farah is in Roseburg?
Yes, it is. We are in Roseburg. We're just not on the other side of where Alyssa is.
Very, very cool. And I also wanted to let y'all know that we got a few comments tagging what I can assume are fathers or males in some women's lives who they wanted to see this. So it's important to people. And with that, I super, super appreciate your time. Yeah, and thank you all for viewing. Very much appreciate you and your time. Alrighty, well, we have another panel happening soon, so please join us for that. And on Friday, we'll also have a storytelling time to kind of show you a bit about how to read to a child, if that's something that befuddles you, which it can be. So, right, have a fantastic day.